So, kind of had a realization um, one night. I realized that here recently, maybe not recently, but for a while, I've kind of always felt this sense of invisible. Um, and again, it doesn't have to be relationship related, right? But like friendships, right? Maybe in the family, work colleagues, work in general. Um, but I have realized something recently again that I am a lot of people's friend, but rarely their friend. And that's quite of a different kind of quiet loneliness, I would say. Um, I'm friends to a lot of people, right? But is it reciprocated the way I show up for them? I sit in bed and sometimes I wonder that on occasion. Because I could go weeks, months, years without hearing from somebody. I'm always the one that has to reach out, and that's okay, right? I'm a guy. I can live with it. I can learn with it, lean into it, adapt with it. Most friends that I have, I wouldn't say are superficial friends, but they're um, friends that outside of that environment, I don't know if I would hang out with them. You know what I mean? Kind of like, right? More like acquaintance, right? You have acquaintances at the gym. You have acquaintances that you golf with, but are you calling up your golf buddy to go out to a ball game or come over or go out to dinner? Some, not all. Same way with the gym buddies. Sometimes, but there's been many times where I've caught myself. I'm the one that reaches out. Oh, let's fix this here. I'm the one that reaches out, and it's frustrating at times. Disheartening, makes you feel lonely, angry, mad, all sorts of different feelings, kind of all in one, right? So, and I don't know why. Maybe it's different things. Am I always available? Am I always reliable? Sure. All those good traits. I don't know about being always available, good traits, but am I reliable? But am I chosen first, right? When somebody thinks of doing something and they're looking for people to do stuff with or go to an event with or share a memory with, a vacation, what I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there, am I the how far am I down the totem pole, kind of a recent thing that occurred is I went to a comedy show with a friend, female friend, and no, strictly platonic, no, nothing sexual, right? And it was known, and I knew, and I didn't care, but she couldn't get some other of her closer friends, which is understood. I'm not that close with her to go, but I'm old, reliable. Jeremy will go. Need somebody to go with. Let's go. We had a good time. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't a Debbie Downer or anything. It was a great, great, great memory. But when people plan trips, plan golf outings, hey, it's, do I come up in conversation? Do I come up in thought? Probably not. You know, just the way it is. Outside of family, right? I'm fortunate to have a good family, good immediate family, right? That I don't ever feel unwanted or that quiet loneliness of obli- obligation of showing up to the family events because I have to, right? So, it leaves me wondering, why does this happen to myself? I don't know. It's like with work, if I didn't show up, sometimes I think, would anybody know I was gone? Probably, but until they needed something from me. But it's not like, hey, let's go swing by and let's go shoot the shit with Jeremy, the safety guy, right? No one's gonna do that, right? Or hey, how about we go grab a drink after work? Or hey, why don't you, you're invited to this outing. It's always there for work. I have a couple good friends at work, but only maybe one of them I hang out with outside of work, and that's usually golf related activities. Outside of that, would we? I don't know. Family dynamics plays a role in that and how available they are, and your work life balance and your priorities and stuff. And I get that, right? Things The friends that I had when I was younger are different than what I am now as an older individual. So, um, those friends that I have back when I was in school, yeah, I mean, we could go 6 months, a year, or longer, most generally, and I could go back and we could kind of pick up where we left off, right? That's solid. But do I have people calling me on my birthday from them? No. You know, do I have anybody calling me on my birthday outside of my family? I don't know why I had a high pitched voice there, but no, no, I really don't. No texts, no text messages, nobody in my DMs. It seems like every girl that I hang out with seems like, oh, I'm sure you got all sorts of baddies in your DMs. Nah, they're dry, right? I got like two friends that send me reels from Facebook or Instagram. That's it, right? That's the extent of it. No more chasing in this lifetime for me. No more dropping in the DMs, right? I'd rather sit here in front of the camera and smoke a cigar in a freezing cold garage than do that. Why I'm doing this. So kind of back to the point I was going to make right before I start going on one of my rambling rants. Um, why does it happen? I think people are know I'm always there, so they don't have to check on you. I'm dependent. I'm low maintenance friend, right? I'm not going to get pissed off because they didn't reach out or text me on my birthday, right? If they want to go golfing, sure, I'm down, right? Because I love golf. I like their company. I am seeing, again, we're all selfish creatures, and the reason why I only get contacted is because they need something, right? They need a golf partner, they need help with this, or they got, this or that, right? And I'm the same way, right? It sucks playing golf by yourself at times. At times it's nice, right? At times it's very nice. It could be peaceful, alone with your thoughts. You out walking in nature, especially if you walk. I recommend that. Not only for your health, but just for just the simple fact of walking towards your ball after you shank one helps you calm yourself down, right? And you can, depending on how your personality is, you can talk you into a better shot, or you can calm yourself down and just enjoy where you're at in that moment, right? But yeah, I mean, most people only want something when it benefits them, and your friends and family aren't any different to that in certain aspects, right? I don't think my mom or dad act like that, right? My daughter, right? She's too young to know that. Obviously, the things that she's associated with me is through some, some of fulfilling some of her basic needs, which is understandable, right? You get older, right? That bond is going to be a little bit different than maybe your second cousin or third cousin or whatever it might be, right? And then of course your friends are your friends, and I use the term friends loosely, right? Are they acquaintances? Or are you friends? Are you a best friend? I lay there and I'm thinking, I've been married one time and then divorced, but have I ever been someone's best man? No, I haven't. I've had someone be my best man, but when he got married, I wasn't his best man. right? Was I in his wedding party? Yes, I've been in those a couple times, but was I someone else's best friend or best man? No. And the ship has sailed on that. Most of my friends are married, unless they go through multiple marriages and are still acquaintances or whatever. But I got one friend that's engaged, that's planning to get married, and I would be highly doubtful if I'm even like a groomsman, right? Because of just the sheer amount of friends that he has, and probably he qualifies them like MySpace back in the day, where you ranked your friends at a higher ranking than me. You know, he hasn't contacted me in a couple months. I've reached out a couple times to see if he's still alive. I've sent him some Snapchats and still nothing. So do I continue to reach out? I say no, but will I? Sure, maybe. You know, does he know that I got surgery coming up, a stem cell transplant? No, not really, because we haven't really talked since a lot of this stuff has been kind of discussed. Timelines have been set, but I don't share that information a whole lot just out in the open. I've shared it more recently with work because of just the sheer respect of letting them know, that hey, FYI, I know we're short staffed, but this is definitely gonna happen, come down to fruition sooner or later. So, um, the quiet damage with this is, feeling replaceable. You question your value, where you at with your friends, right? Loneliness inside a relationship. Do you feel like an outcast with the friend groups that you consider your friends, but they may not consider you that close of friends to them? That's a weird dynamic. I don't know if anybody talks about it. I think it's more prevalent, probably with, I don't know. I can't say for the other sex, but um, maybe it's just a natural thing when you get older, and I'm blowing this all out of proportion, but I'm sure there's other people that feel the same way. So, um, it's time to pull back, stop over giving, stop, having the availability to some people, right? Categorizing where they deserve to be categorized, right? Don't hold that much value onto them because of they don't place you at a very high value either. That makes sense, right? If it's a one-sided relationship, let it drift away. A new one will come in, right? Just like dating, there's plenty of fish in the sea, just like friends, family. I'm sorry, you're kind of stuck with them. But sometimes family can be more than blood. I do believe that, right? So, um, being invisible or feeling like you're visible doesn't mean that you're worthless, right? So, you have your self worth, right? You are valued by some, but not by all. Cherish and, allocate your time to those that deserve it, and be okay with being alone, or being more, I wouldn't say quiet or mysterious, maybe just, humble. I don't know exactly how to put that, my thoughts into words right this second, but um yeah, don't fret about it. um Needing to be seen doesn't mean that you're weak, right? It means that you're human, right? Just because you feel invisible and you want to be seen, that's a natural thing. It just means you're human, right? It's not a weakness be to feel that you bring value, as long as you really do, to relationships. What do you bring to the table? I hear that a lot, right? With with intimate relationships, but with your friendships too. What do you bring to the table? Do you bring chaos to it? Do you can they only tolerate? I've had friends where I can only tolerate them short stints because it's just how their personality is, right? Self awareness is a big thing that society lacks, and you can be too self aware as well, and I think people borderline on that, but what do you bring? What kind of do you bring them joy? Are you cheerful to be around? Right, your demeanor, you attract, you know, through your actions. What are you giving out to the environment is what you're going to sometimes receive back, right? If you're down about something, it's not going to get any better, but your attitude can change a lot about how people perceive you. So just keep that in mind. I try to. So, I think before I ramble on down a tangent, I'll probably end the video here. But leave a comment. If you've ever felt like this before, felt like a background person, felt like I wouldn't say an NPC is probably not the best thing, but you're the main character in your story, but in other people's stories, you know, where do you feel like you stand in? You're just a background character. Everybody has a role to play, I guess. Doesn't mean you can't play a different role. Um, in your friendships are your background character, I guess. Of course, there's background characters all over the place, but in your friendships that you consider friendships, are you a key contributor? I don't know how do you say that. Let me know. Like the video, subscribe if you want to subscribe. Um, and I'll reply to any comments that you guys write because surprisingly I don't get that many comments. Um, maybe I will. I don't know. With that said, I hope everybody stays healthy and wealthy, and we'll see you again.